Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to queue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, here we go again. So happy to be back with you all. Such a pleasure, honor, privilege to connect, share, grow together with all you beautiful reflections. I am going to pick up where I left off in the last few episodes. If you guys have not caught the last few episodes, I've been reading from The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Very well-known author from, actually, this was written in 1952. Sort of a staple. Certainly ahead of his time in a lot of ways with his teachings. Such a powerful book. And the reason I chose it, doing some traveling, so I'm recording a bunch of episodes at once. And it's an easy way to get amazing content out there. It gives me some things to talk about. I'll interject throughout. And also what's great about it is you don't have to have listened to them in order. Each chapter sort of is self-contained in a sense. Obviously, ideally, you'd listen, you go back, and you can start, in the beginning, but not necessary whatsoever. And with that being said, I'm going to dive right in and continue with Chapter 8 of The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. He has some quotes at the top of this chapter, which is titled Renunciation. The first quote says, "There is no coal of character so dead that it will not glow and flame if but slightly turned." I like that one. Next one, "Resist not evil." And the next one, "Whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also." Oh, I'm very intrigued by all these quotes, so I want to hear his thought on renunciation here. "There is a great difference between resisting evil and renouncing it. When you resist evil, you give it your attention, you continue to make it real. When you renounce evil, you take your attention from it and give your attention to what you want. Now is the time to control your imagination and give beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. You give beauty for ashes when you concentrate your attention on things as you would like them to be rather than on things as they are. You give joy for mourning when you maintain a joyous attitude regardless of unfavorable circumstances. You give praise for the spirit of heaviness when you maintain a confident attitude instead of succumbing to despondency." In this quotation, the Bible uses the word tree as a synonym for man. You become a tree of righteousness when the above mental states are a permanent part of your consciousness. You are planting of the Lord when all your thoughts are true thoughts. He is I am, as described in chapter 1. I am is glorified when your highest concept of yourself is manifested. When you have discovered your own controlled imagination to be your savior, Your attitude will be completely altered without any diminution of religious feeling, and you will say of your controlled imagination, "Behold this vine. I found it a wild tree, whose wanton strength had swollen into irregular twigs. But I pruned the plant, and it grew temperate in its vain expense of useless leaves, and nodded, as you see, into these clean, full clusters to repay the hand that wisely wounded it." By vine is meant your imagination, which in its uncontrolled state expends its energy in useless or destructive thoughts and feelings. But you, just as the vine is pruned by cutting away its useless branches and roots, prune your imagination by withdrawing your attention from all unlovely and destructive ideas and concentrating on the ideal you wish to attain. The happier, more noble life you'll experience will be the result of wisely pruning your own imagination. Yes, be pruned of all unlovely thoughts and feelings, that you may think truly, and thy thoughts shall the world's famine feed. Speak truly, and each word of thine shall be a fruitful seed. Live truly, and thy life shall be a great and noble creed. Now, that being said, it's interesting because that's one that it's been talked about a lot, sort of looking away from problems, and I completely agree that where attention goes, energy flows, and learn to prune your imagination. But if something is there's been trauma and something continues to come up, certainly also, and this has been a hot topic lately, you've heard on the show and probably just in general, not just trying to sugarcoat something. If it's something that is deep rooted, say a trauma or what have you, certainly the light of awareness and perspective helps tremendously, but also allowing yourself to feel. If you are feeling a certain way, worst thing we can do is beat ourselves up. And I believe, and often, especially, some people have experienced traumas that I certainly have not. And, when you have been through things that are so difficult, allowing those feelings, not judging them as bad, allowing them to be, can certainly help to move through them, and just feeling them fully, going through hell, so to speak, and coming out the other side. And it's kind of a tricky one, right, to balance, and we're all trying to figure it out. But I would say that it is really important never to beat yourself up for where you're at. And if you're having trouble, pruning your thoughts and imagination, love yourself for that as well. Radical acceptance of self is super important, and just being aware of the process of how this works, you're going to make progress. Just what you resist persists. So if you beat yourself up, it's going to continue to sort of keep you stuck, right? All right, chapter 9, preparing your place. All is yours. Do not go seeking for that which you are. Appropriate it, claim it, assume it. Everything depends upon your concept of yourself. That which you do not claim as true of yourself cannot be realized by you. The promise is, whosoever hath, to him it shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that which he seemeth to have. Hold fast in your imagination to all that is lovely and of good report, for the lovely and the good are essential in your life, if it is to be worthwhile. Assume it. You do this by imagining that you are already what you want to be, and already have what you want to have. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Be still and know that you are that which you desire to be, and you will never have to search for it. In spite of your appearance of freedom of action, you obey, as everything else does, the law of assumption. Whatever you may think of the question of free will, the truth is your experiences throughout your life are determined by your assumptions, whether conscious or unconscious. An assumption builds a bridge of incidents that leads inevitably to the fulfillment of itself. Man believes the future to be the natural development of the past. But the law of assumption clearly shows that this is not the case. Your assumption places you psychologically where you are not physically. Then your senses pull you back from where you were psychologically to where you are physically. It is these psychological forward motions that produce your physical forward motion in time. Precognition permeates all the scriptures of the world. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And now I have told you before it came to pass, that when it comes to pass, ye might believe. And that's from John 14:2, 3, and 29. The I in this quotation is your imagination, which goes into the future, into one of the many mansions. Mansion is the stated desire. Telling of an event before it occurs physically is simply feeling yourself into the state desired until it has the tone of reality. You go and prepare a place for yourself by imagining yourself into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Then you speed from the state of the wish fulfilled, where you have not been physically, back to where you were physically a moment ago. Then with an irresistible forward movement, you move forward across a series of events to the physical realization of your wish that where you have been in imagination, there you will be in the flesh also. Unto the place from whence the river comes, thither they return again. And that's Ecclesiastes 1:7. Chapter 10, Creation. I said before, he uses a lot of Bible verses, and I love this because, a lot of times religion you think is sort of not teaching these concepts of us having the power. It's this external force outside of ourselves, and that's the big difference between, sort of religion and spirituality, I would say. Spirituality, understanding that you are it. You are the I am, whereas religion is teaching I am is this God external of self, and sort of on a whim deciding what does or doesn't happen to you. And I love how he's using Bible verses, which really support through proper interpretation, I would say, that you are indeed it. And you are building the mansions. You are one with the source. You are one with the Father, right? So, chapter 10, creation, of course, with another Bible verse. I am God, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done. I have a feeling this is going to get into the idea that time is an illusion and it's all already happened. Let's see. My guess. Creation is finished. Creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness for the entire contents of all time and all space, while experienced in a time sequence, actually coexist in an infinite and eternal now. In other words, all that you ever have been or ever will be, in fact, all that mankind ever was or ever will be, exists now. This is what is meant by creation, and the statement that creation is finished means that nothing is ever to be created, it is only to be manifested. Big difference, right, guys? Nothing is ever to be created, only manifested. It's already been created. Everything exists in now, the eternal now, your future self, as you want to be, and the things you want to have. They exist on another channel that you're not tuned into. What we're getting good at here is what? Manifesting them, right? What is called creativeness is only becoming aware of what already is. You simply become aware of increasing portions of that which already exists. The fact that you can never be anything that you are not already, or experiencing anything not already existing, explains the experience of having an acute feeling of having heard before what is being said, or having met before the person being met for the first time, or having seen before a place or thing being seen for the first time. The whole of creation exists in you, and it is your destiny to become increasingly aware of its infinite wonders and to experience ever greater and grander portions of it. If creation is finished and all events are taking place now, the question that springs naturally to the mind is, what determines your time track? That is, what determines the events which you encounter? And the answer is your concept of yourself. Concepts determine the route that attention follows. Here is a good test to prove this fact. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe the route that your attention flows. You will observe that as long as you remain faithful to your assumption, so long will your attention be confronted with images clearly related to that assumption. For example, if you assume that you have a wonderful business, you will notice how in your imagination your attention is focused on incident after incident relating to that assumption. Friends congratulate you, tell you how lucky you are. Others are envious and critical. From there, your attention goes to larger offices, bigger bank balances, and many other similarly related events. Persistence in this assumption will result in actually experiencing, in fact, that which you assumed. The same is true regarding any concept. If your concept of yourself is that you are a failure, you would encounter in your imagination a whole series of infinite incidents in conformance to that concept. Thus, it is clearly seen how you, by your concept of yourself, determine your present. That is, the particular portion of creation which you now experience, and your future, That is the particular portion of creation which you will experience. So, yeah, one we talk about a lot on the show, right? Time is an illusion. It's all already happened. And when you start getting that, right, you are onto something, and just tuning in and calling in the parts of self that you want to experience. As I always say, your life plays out at the corner of free will and destiny. It's all already happened. Which version of it all of you do you want to experience? Well, the greatest and grandest version. The good news is you've already done it, right? Let's see. One more chapter, shall we? Chapter 11, Interference. You are free to choose the concept you will accept of yourself. Therefore, you possess the power of intervention, the power which enables you to alter the course of your future. The process of rising from your present concept to a higher concept of yourself is the means of all true progress. The higher concept is waiting for you to incarnate it in the world of experience. Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us, unto him be the glory. And that's Ephesians 3:20. Him that is able to do more than you can ask or think is your imagination. And the power that worketh in us is your attention. Understanding imagination to be him that is able to do all that you ask, and attention to be the power by which you create your world, you can now build your ideal world. Imagine yourself to be the ideal you dream of and desire. Remain attentive to this imagined state, and as fast as you completely feel that you are already this ideal, it will manifest itself as reality in your world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. The mystery hid him from the ages, Christ in you, the hope of glory. The he in the first of these quotations is your imagination. As previously explained, there's only one substance. This substance is consciousness. It is your imagination which forms a substance into concepts, which concepts are then manifested as conditions, circumstances, and physical objects. Thus, imagination made your world. The supreme truth, with but few exceptions, man is not conscious of. The mystery, Christ in you, referred to in the second quotation, is your imagination by which your world is molded. The hope of glory is your awareness of the ability to rise perpetually to higher levels. Christ is not to be found in history nor in external forms. You find Christ only when you become aware of the fact that your imagination is the only redemptive power. When this is discovered, the towers of dogma will have heard the trumpets of truth, and like the walls of Jericho, crumble to dust. I love that. So, yeah, I mean, this is like talking about Christ consciousness here, right? Christ consciousness, becoming aware of what you are, which is consciousness, and what is your power. What did even the character Jesus, who is a person, Christ being a consciousness, a state of consciousness, right? Like Buddha consciousness. Siddhartha was the man we call Buddha, but Buddha is a state of consciousness. Like Christ consciousness is a path to enlightenment, awakening to the truth of all that is. And yeah, I mean, what a powerful thing to fully understand that. And of course, anyone here listening and tuning into this show is a part of in this journey of awakening and remembering and manifesting more, the next greatest and grandest version of themselves. Well, guys, that gets down to it for today. And as I mentioned before, while we're going through the power of awareness, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. And instead of leaving you guys with a song, I'm actually going to end each episode with a nano tap with a lovely Sonia Sophia from the World Tapping Circle. This one is called Cultivating Confidence.
Hi, everyone. I've got another nano tap for you. This one is called Cultivating Confidence. So any part of you that feels wiggly and jiggly and is worried about judgment of other people towards you, this is a great little quick tap to do. Ready? Massaging the front of your chest, pressing around till you feel those little sore spots. Big, deep, noisy breath. Here we go. Even though part of me doesn't feel confident that what? What are you worried about? I love and accept myself. Tap the eyebrows. I'm afraid of What are you afraid of? Tap the temples. This fear that, say what it is that concerns you. Tap your cheeks. I'm worried. I don't feel secure in this part of my life. Tap under the nose. I'm open to loving and accepting myself, even though I don't feel confident about this yet. Tapping under the lips. Part of me feels insecure here. Tap the chest. I don't like admitting this insecure feeling. Now we're going to drop down to the front of the rib cage. This insecure feeling. I don't feel confident. Tuning into that place that feels a little strange inside you. Tap the side of the ribs. I love and forgive myself, even though I've been judging myself for not feeling strong and secure about this yet. Beautiful. Tap the inside of the wrist. I forgive myself for worrying about other people's judgments. Big deep breath. Beautiful. We're going to jump up to the top of the head. I'm worried about what people will think. What do they think of me? Tap the eyebrows. Even though I've been worried about what other people will think or say, tap the temples. I love and accept myself. Tapping the front of the cheeks. This fear. Big deep breath. Tap under the nose. I forgive myself for judging myself. Tap under the lips. Tune in and see if you've been judging yourself in this area. Tap the chest. It's okay for me to accept myself where I'm at and the way I'm being. Tap the front of the ribs again. I'm allowing myself to accept myself exactly where I'm at and exactly how I'm being with this. Big deep breath, 10 seconds of self-acceptance as we tap the side of the ribs and breathe. Just accepting that part that still feels a little wobbly. Accepting any remaining judgments. Tap the top of the head. I've been judging myself, telling myself what? What limiting thought have you been repeating again and again in your head that's been knocking down your confidence? Tapping the back of the head and the sides of the head. Blurt that thought out right now. Tap the temples. Telling myself, say it again. Tap the cheeks, say it one more time. Tap under the nose. I'm forgiving myself. Tap under the lips. I'm for attacking myself with this thought. Tap the chest. I'm giving myself permission to build my confidence with loving acceptance. So what would something you would love to hear a dear friend say to you that would help build your confidence in this area? You're going to do fine. I know you can do this. I believe in you. Big deep breath. Tap the front of the ribs. You got this. Tap the side of the ribs. I'm giving myself the support on the inside that I've been craving from other people. Tap the inside of the wrist. I'm giving myself some loving encouragement. Say this loving thought 3 times as you tap the top of the head. I'm allowing myself to feel good about myself, even if I'm still a little shaky. Tap the eyebrows. I'm allowing myself to relax, tap the temples, and to feel strong. Tap all over the body. Remember that you can rewind this and use it again and again. Thank you for doing the Nano Tap with me. I hope to see you in the World Tapping Circle, where we do a much deeper version of the same thing. And I know you're going to get a lot of love and support there. Thank you.